Imagine waking up to find your backyard sliced open like a cheap cake, a gleaming pipe snaking through it like some uninvited serpent, all courtesy of your nosy neighbors who think rules apply to everyone but them. That's what hit me one crisp morning in Willow Creek, that picture-perfect suburb where the lawns are greener on the HOA's side, until they're not. I stood there, coffee mug in hand, staring at the mess, knowing this wasn't just dirt disturbed. It was war declared by the self-appointed guardians of community standards. I wasn't always the guy who fought back. For years, I'd been the quiet one in Willow Creek, the single dad with the modest house on the edge of the subdivision, raising my kid after my wife passed. Folks whispered about me, said I was reclusive, maybe even shady because I didn't join every block party or kiss up to the HOA board. Rumors flew. He's probably hiding something in that garage. Or, why doesn't he paint his fence the approved beige? I heard it all through the grapevine, but I kept my head down, fixed my own leaks, and minded my business. Little did they know, I was watching, noting every petty fine they slapped on neighbors for overgrown hedges or unauthorized bird feeders. Patience was my weapon. I'd learned it the hard way, from years of dealing with bureaucracy in my old job as a county surveyor. But this trench carving through my backyard, tapping into the old creek that fed my well, this was the spark that lit the fuse. It started innocently enough, or so they'd claim. I was out back watering my vegetable patch when I tripped over the uneven ground. At first, I thought it was a gopher hole on steroids, but no, it was a fresh dug ditch about 2 feet deep, running straight from the creek behind my property line, across my lawn, and vanishing into the HOA's communal green space next door. And there, buried not so deep, was a brand new PVC pipe, humming faintly with the flow of water. My water. I followed it with my eyes, heart rate picking up until I saw her, Patricia Patty Hargrove, the HOA president, striding over from the adjacent lot in her power walk outfit, khaki capris, a visor emblazoned with Willow Creek pride, and that clipboard she wielded like a scepter. She spotted me and waved, all smiles, as if she hadn't just vandalized my yard. "Jim, good morning," she chirped, her voice dripping with that faux southern charm that masked her iron fist. "I see you've noticed our little improvement project." "Little improvement?" I echoed, keeping my tone even, though my fists clenched at my sides. "Patty, this ditch is on my property. That pipe's stealing from my creek access." She laughed, a tinkling sound that grated like nails on chalkboard. "Oh, don't be so territorial, Jim. It's just a tiny reroute for our new sprinkler system in the community park." The board voted unanimously. We need to keep those petunias perky for the annual flower show. Besides, an engineering consultant said this was the most direct path. It's for the greater good. The greater good doesn't include trespassing. I shot back, stepping closer to the trench. "You didn't ask. No permit, no notice. This is my land, not your playground." Patty flipped a page on her clipboard, her lips pursing in that way that said she was about to lecture me on civic duty. "Technically, Jim, your lot abuts the common area, and we've got covenants that allow for essential utilities. You're not even a full HOA member. Remember, you opted out years ago? But we're all in this together. You wouldn't want to be the Grinch who wilts our award-winning gardens, would you? Think of the children playing in the park." I stared at her, the audacity hitting me like a slap. Here she was, standing on my ruined grass, gaslighting me into feeling guilty for defending what's mine. The rumors about me being antisocial suddenly made sense. She'd probably started half of them to isolate folks like me. But I didn't explode. Not yet. I nodded curtly, turned on my heel, and walked back inside, my mind already racing ahead. If it was just water, as she so casually dismissed, then let's see how her precious petunias fared without it. What Patty didn't know, what none of those clipboard-clutching tyrants on the board realized, was that the creek they were siphoning wasn't public domain. It stemmed from a natural spring a few miles upstream, on a forgotten parcel of land that had been in limbo for years after the old owner passed. I'd spotted the for sale sign during a drive to the hardware store, tucked away on a county road. It wasn't much, just a wooded lot with that bubbling spring. but in a drought-prone state like ours, water rights were gold. By sunset, I'd called the real estate agent, verified the details. Clean title, no liens. By week's end, after a quick cash offer from my savings, I owned it. Lock, stock, and trickle. Patty wanted to play HOA overlord? Fine. But now I controlled the tap. I didn't flip the switch right away. Revenge, like good bourbon, needs time to age. First, I called in a favor from an old buddy, Mike, who ran a drone service for real estate listings. We'd bonded back in my surveying days over bad coffee and boundary disputes. Fly over my yard. I told him over beers at the local dive. Map that trench all the way to the park. GPS stamps, high-res shots, and check if it crosses anyone else's land. Mike grinned, sensing the storm brewing. On it, Jim. This for what I think it is. Just documentation, I said mildly. But inside I was building my arsenal. The files came that night. Crystal clear aerials showing the pipe not only gutting my backyard but slithering through old Mrs. Ellis's side yard next door. She was a widow, kept to herself, but I'd seen HOA fines piled on her mailbox for unsightly weeds. 2 properties violated, 0 permissions granted. I printed it all, bound it neatly, and labeled the folder HOA Water Heist. Exhibit A. The next morning, I dialed the sheriff's non-emergency line. Deputy Ramirez showed up by noon, a no-nonsense guy in his 40s, known for cutting through small-town politics. I handed him the binder. Take a look. He thumbed through, eyebrows climbing. This pipe's unmarked. No utility flags. You say the HOA did this? Straight from the president's mouth, I replied. No easement, no heads up. And it's diverting my spring water. Ramirez whistled low. Water theft's felony territory here. You filing? Already did with the water district yesterday. Investigation's rolling. He nodded approvingly. Smart. Mind if I copy this? I'll swing by the HOA office. As he drove off, I felt the first twinge of satisfaction. The whispers about me being a troublemaker would flip soon enough. Panic hit the HOA like a summer squall. By lunch, Mrs. Ellis called, voice quivering with rage. A deputy just left. Said there's a pipe under my rose bushes. Is this those busybodies next door? Drone doesn't lie, I said. Sign this statement? We'll bury them in paperwork. She snorted. Bury 'em? I'll dance on the grave. Send it over. I blasted copies to the water board, sheriff, and the local TV station, Channel 7, always hungry for suburban scandals. No way was I letting Patty spin this quietly. The news van rolled in the next day. Reporter Lena, microphone in hand, followed me to the trench. Mr. Dawson, what's your message to the HOA? I looked dead at the camera. If you want water, negotiate like adults. Stealing it? That's a drought waiting to happen. The segment aired prime time. HOA accused of underground water grab. Residents fuming. My phone lit up. Neighbors I'd barely spoken to offering support, sharing their own HOA horror stories. They fined me $500 for a pink mailbox, one texted. The tide was turning. Patty showed up that evening, not in her visor but a crisp blazer, briefcase in tow, like she was closing a deal. She knocked sharply. I opened the door, arms folded. Jim, may we talk inside? Her smile was tighter than a miser's purse. Nope. Say it here. She glanced at my security cam. This hostility is unnecessary. Hostility is digging up my yard without asking, I countered. She sighed dramatically. We're offering fair compensation for a retroactive easement. Generous terms. Covers repairs. Even a bonus for your trouble. Retroactive? That's fancy for oops, we got caught. No dice. You drag this to court? Over water. Over theft, I said flatly. Explain to your dues-paying members why their fees fund felonies. Her eyes narrowed. You'll regret escalating. I watched her stomp back to her SUV, tires spitting gravel. That night, I hiked upstream to my new spring parcel and cranked the valve shut. Click. Silence. By dawn, the community park's fountains sputtered dry, Sprinklers coughed dust. Landscapers hauled hoses from houses. A comical parade of desperation. Mike texted, "Check HOA site. Temporary shortage due to climate issues. LOL. The cracks widened. A lawyer called, not theirs, but from pissed-off residents. Leaked drone pics had gone viral on the neighborhood Facebook group. They lied about legal approvals, he said. Want a statement? Typed and ready. By week's end, a petition demanded Patty's ouster and an audit. A few residents even knocked on my door, sheepish apologies in hand. We didn't know, one said. She's been ruling like a dictator. Blame the crown, not the subjects, I replied. The water board hit next. Formal citations for violations, fines looming. Sheriff's probe deepened, probable cause for resource theft. The park withered, grass yellowing like bad karma. Silence from Patty, deafening. I figured they were scrambling, rewriting narratives. Then the bar knock, wait, my garage door. 2 suits. Investigator Hale from State Water Enforcement. Burly Agent Knox beside him. Mr. Dawson? We're investigating diversion and forgery. I ushered them in, handed the expanded binder. Spring deed, fresh drone scans, emails I'd FOIA'd showing HOA discussions. They tapped the spring presale, I explained. Pumps in storage if you want it. Hale nodded grimly. Severe stuff. Forged permits in county records. Your name misspelled. Mrs. Ellis's in crayon-level script. Heat flushed my face. Sloppy crooks. We'll subpoena their files. Statements from you too. Gladly. They left with evidence, sun setting on their tail. Momentum built. Reporter Lena called for updates. Patience, I said. That night, HOA Zoom leaked. Residents crashed it. Patty blamed ecofactors. A board member quipped, "Ecofactor named Jim with a deed?" Chat exploded. Deputy Ramirez joined. Don't shred docs. Active case. Meeting imploded. 2 days later, Mrs. Ellis rang. They cuffed her. Patty and Treasurer Vic paraded out. I smiled at the dry trench. Agent Knox confirmed. Forged docs, emails plotting quick signatures. Bilking dues via fake fees. Charges piled. Fraud, forgery, misuse. Board imploded. Resignations flew. Residents rallied to dissolve the HOA. An anonymous note arrived. Freed us. Thanks. With a hardware gift card. Sweet. Interim leaders apologized formally. Offered damages. I lawyered up for civil suit. Met with residents on Co-op Wells legal, fair. Pipe yanked that weekend. Land healed. Courtroom chilled the soul. Judge Harlan eyed the docs, muttering disbelief. Across, Patty, Vic, consultant Lyle, who faked permits via ghost license. DA Riley boomed. Organized fraud, resource grab, community betrayal. Patty sat defiant. Vic floor-gazed. Lyle schemed. Judge to me, civil damages? Yes, repairs, lost use fees. To them, you planned theft, abused power. Sentences, probation, restitution, board bans. Lyle year in jail. Patty/Vic, service, ethics class. Gavel down. Outside, Mrs. Ellis with coffee. Hell of a mulch for your garden. It'll grow stronger. HOA dissolved. New association voluntary. Spring mine leverage held. Riley called, payments starting. Treasurer snitched on another HOA power line scam. Westbrook Estates. Rotten core, I said. Evenings later, new committee knock. Cleanup request. Humble ask. I allowed, pinned their flyer. Walked the healed scar, kicked dirt over old valve. Land quiet, free. But tell me, was shutting off that water justice served? Or just the splashy end to a deeper drought of decency? Who's the real villain in a system that breeds these HOA horrors?